Hello everyone and happy Saturday. So we're back for week 33 and we're moving into this part of the series again where we're being more, contemplative and just, thinking backwards, thinking in the present, just using a lot of our life experience as inspiration for our art. And a lot of times I know that artists think about drawing from their life inspiration, their life, stories and history for inspiration, but oftentimes don't quite know how to do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes the same old stories play over and over in your head and you're like, I want some fresh material. So a lot of these journal prompts that I'm sharing are designed just to make us think differently about all kind of things. And I can tell that you guys are enjoying it. You're telling me, like, wow, memories are coming up that I haven't thought about in years, and, like makes you laugh and, reminisce and smile. And that's a lot of opportunity for some really fresh inspiration. So this week is not different. So it's something called Remembering the Future. Yeah, remembering the future. Sorry, I'm like a little tongue-tied there. That's one of those phrases. But so this is a quote from a psychologist at Western Washington University, Ira Hyman. Thinking about the future is similar to remembering the past. When I think about possible future events, I do the same mental work as when I remember. I'm just remembering a future that hasn't happened yet. So it's kind of cool that actually from a psychologist standpoint, this is actually something that we can sort of practice, because it's the same way that we remember the past. We're doing the exact same processes to kind of project into the future. So remembering the future is one of my favorite things to do. I remember when this notion first came to me during a meditation. I found it odd until the concept was completely unveiled. I then was able to see it as an incredibly powerful way to connect with a deeper aspect of myself. And this is accomplished by sitting back and doing what I call resting meditation. My most favorite, because you can just sit back in a chair, a comfy chair, lay out on the bed or on a sofa or out on the floor and literally close your eyes. So you close your eyes and you just let your mind wander. Amazing things will begin to pop up. Oftentimes they are very disjointed, like an image here and a word there. But try to hold these images and words in your mind as long as you can to catch as many of the little breadcrumbs as possible and then write them down. So make sure you have like a journal. You can even have your journal here because you can use your blank pages to journal on too. So remember that. And then, take all of these and write them down. You can illustrate them if you enjoy illustrating things. You can capture them in colors, whatever comes up. It doesn't have to be, it's whatever. It can be words. You can just, remember the colors that you saw. A lot of times I'll just write the colors down, like the different kind of colors I might have seen, or textures, or maybe patterns or shapes. Sometimes it won't be like a complete, like a daydream or your night dreams or anything like that. Sometimes it'll just be all these bits and pieces. But it's amazing how when you start working with them, how so much new material will come up. So so this is an abundant source of inspiration and it's definitely original material, right? Again, don't judge it. Just capture the ideas in your art journal. One of my favorite artists, Anselm Kiefer, created a body of work that he titled Remembering the Future. I'll put a link. I'll try to find that video again, and because it was on YouTube, and link it below this video. It's a documentary on his inspiration and source of creation. I think you'll enjoy his work. He's I think Anselm is German. I love him because he's so mixed media, large paintings, lots of texture. He makes the most incredible, huge books as art. In fact, the first time I've been following his work for a number of years, but generally his work isn't exhibited in the United States because he uses a lot of lead and all kind of found objects and stuff, and his paintings and books are pretty heavy, and they're just very costly to ship and put exhibits together here in the States. But I remember one year I had been in Venice for the Biennale, and I didn't even really know who was all the artists that were in there. I didn't even really pay attention, but I'm in Venice, it's the Biennale, we're going to go. And as I'm moving through some of the halls there, I come across Anselm Kiefer's work for the very first time I saw it in person. Amazing, just riveting work. And to see his books, you know me, being such a book lover and a book artist myself, I just, you couldn't get me out of those halls. I was done. I didn't really care whatever else I saw. Like, this was such a blessing. So I'll try to link something below here on his work. If I can't find that exact video, hopefully it's still up, I will put something there, just so you can get an idea of his work. Sometimes as you begin to express the ideas, they will expand and develop into more than a word or an image. So just capture what comes up. These are sticky notes from your future, reminding you of this present moment in time. I find so many fresh ideas and concepts are born in periods of reverie. So why do I say from your future? These impulses are from the finished artwork in your future. I view it as my art reaching out to me from the future as inspiration in my present moment. Enjoy playing with this way of looking at time and creativity. And it's funny because very early on, when I started painting and exploring art, I found that it seemed like I always had this room that I could close my eyes and go to in my mind and just walk around the room and see all these amazing like paintings and stuff like that. And then I would just select one, and then I would open my eyes, and that's what I would paint. And I still do that. I still see so much of my artwork already done. I don't know how many of you, I would like to hear in the comments, how many of you have a similar type of way of connecting with your images? It'd be interesting to know that. And then I create those paintings. So when I came across this idea in my meditation of remembering the future, I could really relate to that, because in so many ways I had always approached my art inspiration that way. And it's funny because a couple years ago when I was in Uluru in the Outback, and I had the opportunity to connect with a number of the Aboriginal artists there, just amazing women, just those amazing paintings they do with all the, the stippling and just beautiful colors and what have you. And I asked one of the matriarchs there, she's like a national or living, what do you call it? An artist that's, treasure. And I asked her, I said, where do you see your paintings? Like when you get ready to work on the painting, do you see it? Where do you see it? Is it already done, or you're working through it? And she just takes her hand and she puts it up to her forehead, and she just taps her forehead a couple of times, and she looks at me with those deep, beautiful amber aboriginal eyes, and she just smiles. And I thought to myself, well, that's where I see them too. It's amazing that there was that level of confirmation. So yeah, so anyhow, remember the future. Now these are some of the pages from last week using the printables. So I really got into, once we made these, and these I finished up in Patreon, so I put a library card in there, but I just really liked how they just had this old sort of alchemical document kind of look to them. This one I put a tab on, and then of course I put the labels. But it had me starting to think about like alchemy as a field notes journal. Like, if you were an ancient alchemist and you had your journal and you were keeping track of, various compounds and what have you from nature, what would that look like? So these pages are inspiration for that. They're not all complete. I'm probably at my 80% roll right now. But I really wanted to combine first the prints with you know, text, or these old letters and documents. And this one, I really liked it. And so I had one of these type of botanicals, and I have a book where these botanicals are in it, and I need to go and make some more photocopies, because once I started doing this, I really liked the idea of the roots, the plants, what they call the aerial part of the plants, not to include the flowers. And I've been studying botanicals and herbology, and I just don't I don't look at roots and leaves the same again now. So I really saw that, because so much of the medicine in any plant is in the roots or the leaves. You have the flower essences create beautiful medicine, but so much of it is in the roots and the leaves. So I thought, like, as this sort of ancient alchemist, like, I was tracking the different roots and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these out this week in Patreon with, you know, with more of these plants and this sort of idea of an alchemist notebook. But you can see here, this is Vicky's print, and then I just took another, like, writing over it, left the blank space on it so that I can add stuff there. So basically what I've done is just set the pages up to come back and have, this is just gorgeous, right? So pretty. So I'm going to come back and finish it up, because I'm doing this video earlier in the week. So over in Patreon, you know, we do a lot of this work together. So I'll finish this up. So I'll show you it again next week, all complete. But yeah, and just using different labels and what have you. So I really like this idea of the alchemist notebook. And I think I'm going to do some more book as art around that theme, the alchemist notebook. Love it. So there we are. Alrighty, so that's everything. Let's come down to the table, because I have something I think is going to be a lot of fun for us to work on today. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so the colors that my team selected this month, and you know, like, we did it independently, because I didn't give the ladies any parameters. They sent me what they wanted to share, and it's amazing how much the colors and everything just work together so beautifully. And I've been so inspired by these greens and blues, and I'm just finding myself thinking so much about, like, deep ocean and watercolors, and I don't know, I've just been so inspired myself. Like, it was such a treat to get their work and put the printables together, and I found that it's really inspired me. So I thought we would do today a form of collage that I don't do very frequently in my journals. I do it a lot in my larger scale art, and it's a different style of collaging. It's more like early 20th century, when you think about people like maybe Brock, or some Picasso, early Picasso, not so much Matisse, because it's a little bit, that's a little bit more curve and floral, more, you know, more florally, but you'll see. And then some of, like, Mies van der Rohe, some of the German and Austrian architects also kind of created paintings for fabrics and stuff. They kind of have this sort of feel to it. So, and probably in more recent times, we think of it more mid-century modern, more of the 60s art, late 50s, early 60s, did this style of creating. So we're going to have fun with that. The papers I'm going to use, so if you want to get all this together, you know, before we get started, you know, sort of stop the video, get everything, come back. You know, I love these Daiso papers, and these are the calligraphy. They're 60 in a pack, and they're like $4 or something on Amazon. I'll make sure the links are before. I normally always have links for this stuff, like, at the bottom of the description page. If you scroll all the way down the bottom of the description, normally I keep all this stuff up here because it's like my go-to stuff, so I normally try to keep it for you guys, but I'll make sure that it's in listed, you know, under the supplies for this video. So we're going to use these. I'm also going to use some of the tissue paper, the archival or the acid-free tissue paper we've been using, so you probably already have a lot of this stuff. If you don't, you can definitely use any paper you have, from copier paper to drawing paper. You can use any paper. These are the ones I'm just going to use. So don't worry about that. And then I'm going to get my paints. I'm going to work with these papers, but I'm also going to make some solid sort of background color papers, and we'll do those first. So I'm going to use the Color Shift. These are Arteza. So I just picked a lot of, these are the matte acrylics. Threw a little bit of mauve in here because we want to have some little color variation. This is golden in the golden green. I put some gold in here, Arteza gold, and the golden's iridescent bronze. I also got the fancy black in the Arteza. So just, you know, pick whatever colors you want. I just wanted to kind of get a mixture of greens and blues. And then these stains by Patti, which I love. I love these things. You know I love jelly printing with these and doing that sort of Venetian Fortuny. But I thought these, because they make thin watery colors, I thought these would be nice to paint on as well. So for those of you who have these, and I'll leave the link for Patti's stains. You know, she's a YouTuber. What is it? Patricia Veramontes. And I try to support as many people in our community as possible. So I love these. And if you haven't already got them, they're well worth trying. And I do use them a lot in jelly printing and other things like that. So we would be using them more than for just this technique, just so you know. And then I always have to have my quinacridone nickel azo gold in the wings, because we have to have a little variation. Oh yeah, and not to forget Celadon. So those are the paints I'm going to be using. So grab your palette, and I'm going to take and move these to the side first, because what I want us to do, we're going to start off by just begin painting colors on our papers. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in order. I have all the paints here. I'm just going to put some down and just start painting. So we just want thin layers. So we're just making our background papers. I like using this paper because it's very absorbent too. So I'm going to get my baby wipes and kind of wipe some of the paint off so that I'm not introducing too much water into the brush. And let's go to the next. So this is light blue. So this is another Blick matte acrylic. Love these. So I like doing this to get my sort of solid colors. And the nice thing about this is that, you know, you get a little bit of variation of color. You definitely get the paint streaks and stuff in them. And that just adds so nicely to your collage material. So I'm going to get this one. This one is Amethyst. I think it goes so beautifully with blues and green, especially blues, because of the, you know, it's a lavender color, like, almost. And you could do full sheets of these, but since I kind of want a diverse palette, I just decided I'm not going to really, let me see, let's use this one. And also for the sake of time, because, you know, we're doing this together, so I don't want to, this isn't opened. I know what that's going to do, so let's just, I'm going to need to put that to the side. So let me get the goldens and the yellow and the green gold. Sorry about that. It's like some of these paints, you know, don't want to get started here. Where is... Just sometimes I take my all. There we go. And come on. This is normally a little bit more user-friendly than what it's being right now. I love this color though. Okay. And try to, you know, smooth it out, but you know, it's up to you if you want more streaks in it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna get another sheet. That was cream, so let me get a white. Not that it matters, just doing different things. So let's get in the color shift, this is Aqua Flash. So we're getting a little color mixture here because of some of the color that's still on the brush, but that's good because they're all blues and greens, so I don't mind that. Let's get a little bit more. Okay. I love just making these papers. Sometimes when you're just looking for something to do in your studio and you're not trying to, you know, get too serious, you know what I mean? But you want to be productive, make some of these. So this is Arteza in Fairy Tale Blue. This one has been, okay, there, good. Some really pretty colors. Yeah, I just really saw just a lot of sort of water, and I guess it really reminded me of like mid-century modern, those blues and greens that you used to always see, and the especially the 60s, I think. Some in late 50s, but definitely by the 60s, it just had all those different really pretty green and blue combinations. And when I come across old fabric that has those colors in it, I collect it because I just love it. Okay, so that's good. Try to clean my brush off here. Okay. Let's do a couple more. So we've done this one, so we have, still want to do this. This one is called Dragon Flash. It's color shift. Now these color shifts I get at, like you can get them at Michael's or Joann's, places like that. And I noticed also, to be honest, in different regions, they have different colors. Like I couldn't find this Dragon Flash out here in the Southwest, but Patti found this color easily in Maryland. She finds it there all the time, so she gave me a bottle of it when we were at workshop, and I really appreciate it because I never even saw the color. And then I know I have people reach out to me and say, where'd you get that? My Michaels or whatever doesn't have it. So just beware if you don't see the colors at yours, you know, you can always try to get them on Amazon. So now I like to also put like a dark color in here. So we're going to use the Fancy Black. It's always nice to have a bit of this to add contrast in these kinds of collages. So I'm going to try to get a decent piece of it. We're doing these collages in our art journal, so the good news is that you don't have to have really big pieces. Okay, and then I'll put this on the floor. So then what we'll do is we're going to do almost finished with this part of it. We are going to do some gold, some iridescent bronze, and some Arteza, because there's nothing like having a bit of gold when you're, at least for me, when you're collaging. Just get a bigger brush. Okay. And I'm going to do the Arteza gold as well. And I think that's it. We'll do Patti's stains. And I think I might do that on... Oh, I'll do it on the... Yeah, I'll use the white here. Let me spread this out. Yeah, so these papers are just really neat to make when you're just looking for something to do. Just always kind of make yourself a list of, which is what I do. I'll make a list of things that I want to do for mask making, painted papers and things like this that I want to make. And then when I'm looking for something to do, that's not so much a project, but I want to, you know, do something, I just go to that list. And it's amazing how, you know, I would have forgotten that I wanted to do some of those things. And just having that list really helps to keep you directed. So, okay, and then what I'm going to do last is we're going to do some of this stains. It's very much a wash. Get a fresh brush. This one is called Lullaby Blue. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness. It spreads so nicely too. But you get this kind of... Now remember, this calligraphy paper really absorbs color fast, which is what I like. But you really get this sort of wash over wash type of look to it. Oh, this is just gorgeous stuff. Okay, perfect. And we'll do the green, and then we'll let these all dry, and then we're going to be ready. Oh, look, to start our collaging. And this green, I just think is brilliant because it's kind of like definitely is a vintagey kind of green. It's just a nice color. So even when you put this on papers and stuff that you really want to give that sort of vintage look, it really does a good job of that. Alrighty, so we'll let these dry. And we'll be back with some scissors and our printables. At least I'll be using mine. Use whatever you have or want to use. From this month, August one from the design team, and we'll be ready to start sort of doing this mid-century, we'll call it mid-century modern type of collage, though it goes all the way back to Brock and all those guys. So yep, all right, see you in a minute. So I'm waiting for the papers to finish drying, and then I was going to go on to the next part, which is I've decided to put like a little watercolor background on the page and sort of just kind of have it sort of loose and, you know, kind of irregular. And I was just going to do it, and then, you know, so that I wouldn't be taking time up waiting for things to dry and what have you. So I thought while things were drying, I would just do this. And I thought, you know what, wait a minute, you guys might want to see this. So I can pop the video back on. We can do this part while we wait for things to dry. And then when this, as well as the other pieces are dry, then we'll get to collaging. That way we don't take so much time up with the waiting, but I figured you guys may want to see, you know, this part. So what I'm doing is I love the Arteza metallic watercolors. So that's what I'm using here. And I'll link these as well. These are some of my favorite because it's just a beautiful, intense palette of metallics. And so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting it on in that this sort of wash way, you know. Just kind of wanted a light background, but yet something back there. Have this go off the page a little bit more, because I'm going to just create a collage within this area. And I really want this to be pretty faded. This may be even a little bit too much color for my eye of what I'm thinking. I don't want the background to compete a lot with whatever we're putting down, but I just wanted it to have like a bit of this. So I think what I'm going to do is it's looking good. I have some of the white. I could actually, no, I think I was going to think about the white gesso, but I actually have some white acrylic, Liquitex acrylic ink here. Let's see what happens. We're experimenting. See what happens when I put this down. Let me see if I can just, oh, that's nice, yeah. And this is a water pen, so I'm releasing water as I'm painting. I really want to push this back. Kind of give it a real wash. So I'm squeezing a little bit of water out as I go. I'm sure I will use my heat tool to dry this up. This is getting a bit wet. But I like, see how it's pushing it back and it's giving this really watery kind of texture. But you can still see the blue underneath it, and you can appreciate the metallic still. Oh, I like that. Okay. I think this is good. Kind of gives us sort of a very washed out background, but we still have that blue. Just a little bit more. Okay, this is good. All right, so I'll dry this off camera, and when we come back, everything should be ready to go, and you can work on this collage. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so everything is dry. Let's get going. Let's see if I can get down on this page what's in my mind. We'll see. Okay. So this is a printable I decided that I'm going to work with because we don't have a lot of space here, so I don't want to like do too much. But I feel like this print here, which is Patti's, incorporates like all the possible colors that I've selected. So we have this dry. Let's use this really pretty watery colors. Our two golds. These are our matte colors here, and then the green gold by Goldens. These are Patti's stains. See how beautiful they dry. I mean, even like to do this as an old document or something like that. This color right here is so nice. And on this calligraphy paper, it already starts getting that real crumbly, crunchy kind of feel to it. I love it. And then I did go ahead and do some of the quinacridone azo just in case, but I also just did some white gesso on a page while I was waiting for things to dry. I realized I didn't have a white, so I just used the white gesso, which should give a nice texture to everything. So let's get going. I don't quite know where I want to start, to be very honest with you. So I think what I'm going to do, I know I kind of want to work in circles, so I'm going to start off just by making a circle. So I'm just going to cut into the paper, make a circle, and we'll just kind of check for size and all of that. Okay. So I want to yeah. I'm gonna round off these edges a little bit. Put something like that down. Okay, and let's just get another circle here. I think this one I'm just going to go intuitive, guys. We're just going to kind of go with some intuitive movement here. Not going to think about it too much, because if I start studying it, like they say, you study long, you study wrong. Let me just cut a square piece. I'm going to kind of cut this rectangular piece here, and then just put this here. And I may use some of this, I may not use all of it, I don't know. I'm just going to kind of free flow collage. And let me just cut. It's easy if you cut a strip. So I want to cut some circles. I think it's easier if I just... So I kind of want these irregular little circles, but you know, you can use... Oftentimes I use a just a hole punch or a circular, you know, punch. If you kind of want more regular sort of shapes. Like I said, what I do when I do this style, I just start cutting things. Just reserve all your shapes, because it's funny how some of these little odd pieces you can come back to. Let me see. No, I really liked this color right here. So let's just cut And I think go like that. That underneath there. Sort of see this kind of abstract thing. I don't know if I want, I am going to use these, but I don't know that I like it right up against that color. I think I'm going to put some white down before I put those, but I have them. So I like this one also. So let's get another shape here. Okay, we're getting somewhere there. I'm going to go for let me go for this green right here. This is Patti's. Kind of lay things behind. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get another. This is her blue. Just want to get another sort of shape here of some sort. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, just to get an idea of where I'm going with this, is I'm just sort of laying the foundational colors first. And then I'm going to come back with my blacks and the whites to really kind of start pulling the excitement out. But you kind of have to get... To me, I like to get this foundation down. So many of you already started signing up for the workshop series that I'm doing. I'm doing jelly printing and mostly jelly printing and collage, because that's what I get so many questions on, like how to do different techniques or how do I do things. So I put this series together to honestly address many of those kinds of questions. And, you know, working together, we can kind of, because I'm doing the Zoom, you know, the way I've done the Zoom before. Many of you really seem to like that format. Oh yeah, we're starting to get somewhere here. And so the very first series it's coming up, so you can get them individually, or I've made a price for all 8 of them. So it's like, if you get all 8 of them, it's like you save almost 2 workshops worth of things. But I've priced them really well. They're all $50. So if you just want to get them a la carte, you can do that too. I feel like I want to make this a little smaller. So let's just go in here and grab a smaller chunk. So this is the kind of stuff we'll just be working together, and I'm just going to go over, like, the very first one is collage, and I'm just going to kind of go over like the elements of collage as I see them. The way I kind of work with different, oh, this is looking good. Okay, we're getting there. So let's get this little darker gold, this iridescent bronze, and I think I'll get a circle. So yeah, and then these are the workshops will be forever available. So can always go back over and keep on working the techniques. But like these. So let's come back. Let me get some more white ones. That's what I need. So yeah, just so you guys know, I know many of you have already started signing up for them. And so I really look forward to hanging out with you all. We always have a lot of fun in these. But I've tried to keep them affordable. Obviously, I mean, you know, $50 for about, we normally go for about 4 hours. It's I say 12 to 3, but everybody who's taking my workshops, you know, I always run over. We always go at least half an hour, 40 minutes or more over. But they're all taped, they're all recorded. So if you have to stop at a certain time, you won't miss anything. You can come back and catch up on the taped ones. They're up in my school and Teachable. So like I said, they're always there. But if you really want to kind of go deep into collage and various jelly printing techniques, I got a number of jelly printing techniques that I get asked all the time. So we'll do jelly printing on fabric. Now I need some black. Jelly printing on, see how this has that like 60s vibe? Jelly printing on, do this way. Fabric. Jelly printing with oils, like oil sticks. Amazing on the jelly plate, my friends. Oh my goodness. You can do some beautiful pieces with that. And so yeah, lots of jelly printing techniques. So I've done them so we can do like a full dive, you know. And you can ask questions. You can have your video on. You can have your screen on so that you can see, everybody can see, you can interact. You don't have to. People do it all kinds of ways. So let me see. I like that. Okay. So yeah, it's your choice. I'm going to put this through there like that. So when I'm done with this, I most definitely have to take a picture because that's the only way you can get this thing back together in my estimation. Maybe like this. Oh, that's good. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. You can see how it flushes out. So I really like this. Let me get a black, just a little black dot. Do a small circle here. Like right there. Yeah, it gives it that. This is kind of like, I always think of this as sort of jazz too, you know, like how a lot of images in the 60s and 70s, like album covers and stuff like that, you know, sort of jazz music, Paris in the 60s, you know, though I wasn't in Paris in the 60s, but I just kind of fantasize what that must have been like. Okay, I really like this. I think this is good. Probably just going to move it up a little bit, squish it up a little, but and all these little pieces I'm going to keep because see, I can start another one by putting this one down and working from that. So keep all your pieces because they really do help you when you go on to the next one. Let me see. Just kind of like these amorphous type of shapes, you know. Yeah, that just gives a little something up there without being too much on the eye. But okay, so let me take a picture of this. It's the next thing we do, because otherwise getting it back together becomes a nightmare. So let me just get my phone here. Have to turn it on. A lot of times I just turn my phone on, especially when I'm in the studio working. And then when I'm doing videos, it's like inevitably you get that call, you know? And I find it distraction, or like you get so many notifications, everything's kind of pinging. So anyway, okay, so we're going to take a picture. So we're just going to kind of okay, so you can see, wait a minute, what do I have going on there? Okay, so see, you can just take a really good picture of it. So now you see you have a really good picture. So now you can put that up, and then we can take it all off, and then we just start working these layers up. So I kind of start by just kind of moving pieces over. I don't like just, you know, I try to keep some of the units together, so we can see what we got going here. Move them as a unit, and so we kind of get down to our base layers. So right now we see that this is going to go down, and that's going to kind of go over it. Okay. That's weird. See, as soon as you do something, you get all these weird texts and stuff. Okay. Which we don't want. Alright, let me just check the time. Okay, let me reset our time here. Alrighty, so what I decided to do is just to print it out. If you guys have a printer, a photocopier or something that's easy for you to print it out, just print it out, and then I just tack it right up in front of me. That way, for me, the phone kind of keeps on closing, and with me videotaping, I'm constantly just tapping it. I don't want to be that kind of distraction to you guys, so I decided just to print it out. So if you have the ability to print it out, that's another way. Let's slide this over. So I want to kind of get this right here. So let's get this piece down first. Okay. We have that piece there. Take that off. And that off. Okay, so then this piece is going to kind of come right there. I'm just using my Oohoo glue stick here. But let me go ahead and get this piece, because a part of this, I'm going to glue the whole thing, but one part goes down first and then the other one goes over top of the piece we're just gluing up. So let's put this here. I guess it looks like that's about right. Sort of right. I'm letting it kind of go over the top a bit. So this piece should go, looks like it goes right about there, maybe. It's funny how this kind of has a fish-like shape to it. Alright, so far so good. So now let's get, looks like I need this blue piece right here. Okay, so I need to get this one down. So this goes down next, okay. Tell you, it's invaluable to take a picture of it because it never goes back the same way if you don't. Okay. I love this style of collaging so much. It's nice too when a lot of times when I'm working like this, I'll just kind of get a take one of my large work tables and then just sort of lay out papers, lay out like sort of backs, however I make my backing, like we did watercolor here today. You can do a number of different ways, but I'll get that backing and then get one of my cards here. And then I'll lay those all out, and then as I start working with my papers, then I just kind of move. I might work 7 or 8 of these at one time. It goes right there like that. Yeah, and it's just a really neat way to, that way you kind of can work all your elements, you know, and you're not like just working one idea at a time. You can explore all your different ideas as they come up, because it's amazing working like this. So many ideas pop up as you're putting things down. You think, oh, I could do this like this. And so then, you know, you can work a few of them at a time. They're fun like that too. Okay, so we can't cover up our... Okay, this is kind of curved a little bit like that. Okay, that's good. It's like we're getting there. So now, okay, this I had, let me lift that up because let's get this piece from over here, because I'm just kind of working down and across. So what I need is this piece here, because I've got this green needs to go down next. Okay. So you can see how this is like reminiscent of the early 20s, the teens and the 20s in terms of various collage styles and what have you. Okay, so then this piece can go here. Okay. So yeah, remembering the future. This kind of thing will make you really kind of be very, you know, pensive. You know, it's really thought-provoking because you kind of like just can really get into the process. And then I find my mind really does just kind of, let me see, where do I want to put this? Okay, so this is kind of like that. A little off the edge a bit. And then this piece, okay, goes there. And it's a good, I find, at least when I work like this, you know, once you kind of get into the groove of it, it's a good one for, like I said earlier, like multiple ideas. Let's put this in there now. And because you know, it's like you are going to that special place in your mind and just pulling from your treasure trove of ideas, because this style causes you to work like that. I don't want it to go at such an angle. So let me see. I got to lift this piece back up a little bit. Fortunately, using this, using the Uhu, you know, it takes, and especially on this paper, it takes a little while for it to stick. So, okay. Kind of had it going more as a straight line. I didn't want that angle. That looks better. Okay, so then this, how did I have that one? Oh, I'm looking at the picture, but it looks like this was just kind of covering the whole thing like that. I did. It was covering it. Okay, so we can put that down. And then we'll go ahead and glue this up. And just, this is kind of like off the edge a little bit like that. Okay. Wow. And see, these papers, this calligraphy paper is nice because it's thin. So I'll lift this up a bit so you can see how you're starting to see the layers underneath it. So you can see the colors underneath it, and I like that. So you just start getting like that real subtle layering. I'm gonna have fun making these other ones. Oh my goodness. This is really inspiring. Okay, so, oops. See, even with my thing here, so I need to lift this up. What I like about the Yoo-hoo is it's not super aggressive, especially on this calligraphy paper, because this needs to go under there. So see, I can lift it up. Not a lot of problems. So make sure in this process, learn from me. Don't you don't have to use a super, like I would not be using the Giotto right now because it would really kind of sort of anchor in there, and I don't want that. So there. So I'll just put a little bit more glue, although I can feel that it's still pretty sticky. Okay. All right, so now I've got the gold down, the green. I'm coming up on the layer of dots now because I basically just have this over here in the dots. So let me go ahead and put this piece of gold down, which goes right about here. Okay. And you could do this also with like magazine, and this works really well with like glossy magazines. So, you know, just cut out the various colors out of the magazines that you like. Also using like text and stuff from the magazines. That's always kind of had it down a little further like this. Okay. Alrighty, and then I had this black piece, so let's grab that. So yeah, you can, I find like if you go to the library or if you already have a collection of like your old, you know, like your better home decor, like, you know, House and Garden, I mean, like AD, you know, Architectural Digest and Home and Gardens, and, you know, some of those really, just like this, the more high-end magazines, and that's because they just have better quality printing. The paper is thicker. They sort of use that clay, what they call it's a kind of the backing of the paper has a clay base to it, so it absorbs color better, and so that really makes good collage paper because it's nice and thick. And oh, we're going to also do photo transfer. I call my technique is called photo grunge. It is so much fun. It takes all of the anxiety out of. Make sure I get this the right way because I had it kind of high on here. It honestly takes a lot of the anxiety out of that photo transfer on a jelly plate. You know, so you're not like, oh, I messed it up. We're just going to go with the grunge. Okay, so let's see. All these pieces are here, so I still have to put this piece here. So, yeah. And I love using those papers, even with the photo transfer technique on the Gelli plate, even what's left in terms of the papers that we pulled the images from. Those are still so cool to use in collage processes because it's all that paint on there. And then you can just sort of faintly see the text or the picture underneath. So all that stuff is good for, you know, collaging. And I love doing this style of collaging with it because it really does remind me of sort of Brock or something like that, you know. Let me see if I can just ink it up here and pull it up. Let's get our little black dot in here. No. Kind of do it a little off center. You know, the whole idea with this whole 60s jazz kind of look with things were just a little wonky. So I have one more. This white one goes right about here. Okay. And we are, this is it. I only have one more piece to glue down and we've got our image. Wow. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I love working like this. Just makes you stop and think differently about what you're doing, how you're doing it. Kind of get that. I think I want it a little bit over that one. And then this piece kind of goes off of it a bit. So we'll look at it and see if we want to add anything else. Okay. So let's take a look at it all. What we have. It really does have that sort of underwater feel to it, yeah? Trying to decide if I want to put something right in there, but maybe I don't. I like it. I feel like it's do I just want maybe like a gold, hold up, let's see, maybe just a gold dot or something, another gold something. I don't know. If I don't like it, we don't have to use it. Thinking this lighter gold. Let's just see. Maybe sort of more like an oval or something. I like that there. I feel like it just takes that space up in a nice, it just adds that nice last element. So everything is kind of like, I feel like these dots become grounded with that one there versus without it. I think that is a nice kind of grounding element. So let's put that down and we're done. Yes. Our time's still looking good. I have no idea how long this video is until I edit it because I've done it in so many pieces because I wanted to stop and let things dry and, you know, do it so that it was making the best use of the video's time with you guys not sitting around waiting for a lot of the boring stuff to happen. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we're done. I like that. A little jazzy, aquatic, 60s, you know, Paris in the 60s. What's what I'm going to call this series? Theme. Alrighty, so there we are. So I'll be making more of these this week, but as I contemplate remembering my future and just having fun, thinking about all the kind of different pieces that we can do. And like I said, this is the kind of stuff we'll do in the collage series. It's coming up. It starts in September. The very first one is Intro to Collage, and I'm just going to show like a lot of different styles, like maybe 4 or 5 different styles, so that it really, and what we're like, why balance, like, you know, like even with this, you know, I'll be able to explain through more like what made me do these selections, because it was purposeful, like it's intuitive, and at the same time, like I'm really thinking about how things are sort of moving around and the balance, and then just kind of trying to project what I saw in my mind's eye for this piece. So there we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please thumb the video up, and that lets me know that you guys are loving what I'm bringing to you. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and hit all. That way you get the notifications. We do these every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this week's comments. I always read everything. You guys know I read them and I respond. And I love hearing everything that you're saying. I love the stories that you tell me. It just makes me smile, and it just adds so much to my own experience and sharing with you all, me hearing your stories. As much as you enjoy hearing mine, I love hearing yours too. So there we are. That's everything. Take care. Love you guys, and see you next week. Alrighty. Bye-bye.